Today, I'm gonna show you how to create your own editing assets that you can use on your own projects or that you can sell. What is up, guys? Tyler Casey here. Today, I wanted to drop some knowledge on you guys and give you guys some tips on how to create your assets. If you didn't know, this is actually something I've been doing for the past 5 years with my company, Cinepax. We started Cinepax back in 2019, me and my business partner, Andy. And the very first pack we created was the paper transition effects. From there, we've created a ton of free and paid versions of packs to help out the editing community. This has financially allowed us to stop shooting music videos. We were able to launch physical products and we were able to launch studios down in Los Angeles. Without growing our brand, Cinepax, I'd probably still be shooting client videos every month just to get by. But creating my own digital assets and bringing value to the editing community is one of the things that really took off. So I wanted to give back and I wanted to walk you guys through on my personal process on how I create digital assets. This one's going to be specifically around these stop animation assets. I've created tons of packs using this, and I think there is a lot that you can still do with it. Okay, so we're gonna start with the most simple version of this. I have a big green poster board from Dollar Tree. I think you get like 2 of these for like $1, maybe $1.29 now. Then you're gonna need some craft supplies. You could be using a Sharpie, a pen, a pencil. Today I'm gonna be using this paint stick. I like these. They're kind of just like a wet paint stick and it has a cool look to it. I actually made the whiteout effects pack with these. So basically I'm going to animate, I'm gonna do frame by frame, but I'm gonna draw different ones. And the difference of this is it's kind of gonna give it like a wiggly look because I'm drawing it different each time. If you don't know anything about animation, we're basically going frame by frame. I'm just gonna make a standard X asset that you can just kind of use as like a mixed media type look, right? So I'm just gonna start with a little dot like that. And I could even draw one smaller to the left of it. I think I went too far actually right there, so I'm gonna just do a little star. I got a little carried away, and I'd probably even draw one more in between where it connects right there. So it would go boom, boom, boom. Forget that one. Let's just scribble that one out. We're not gonna use that. We'll come back down here, and that one's gonna be there now. So maybe let's just draw one more. And then now what you want to do is you just want to snap a photo of this. You could be using a DSLR, you could use your iPhone, you could get close and you could take photos of each individual one. And then we're going to bring those into Premiere and I'm going to show you how to assemble those and turn it into an asset. If you want to skip to there, I'm going to put timestamps in there, but now we're going to switch over to the advanced version of this. I'm going to show you my next setup with the overhead rig and how I do stop animation. Let's do it. Here is my overhead setup, and this setup consists of an overhead rig from Glide Gear. I'll link that down below. I like this overhead rig because it has tons of mounting points and it's easy to set up. You could just lean a tripod up against the table and just point it down. That works as well, or you could use a C-stand for your overhead rig. The camera of choice I'm using is the GH5. This has been my main workhorse for making every single Cinepack. It works great for stop animation. You can make all the files in camera. I'm gonna show you exactly what that looks like. You can also use a cell phone. I have done a mixed media tutorial using an app. One of the main things that you want is like the onion layering effect, so you can kind of see the previous. Then next you're gonna want a trigger. The trigger is super important because you're not touching the camera or getting any of those micro jitters. You want to basically keep the camera as still as possible. Either a trigger or you can use the app. There's a Lumix app. I just hate using my phone and then my phone dies and it's just too much. So I like using the trigger. They're super cheap. Link it down below. I like having a separate monitor so it's as bright as possible and I can just see what's going on. And then my last couple tips are you need consistent soft lighting. So you just want lighting that doesn't change, that's soft. I have it just bouncing off my ceiling here. Second tip is all manual settings, manual focus, manual exposure. You don't want exposure dipping up and down. That's super important. So we're all set up here. I'm gonna make a transition, a stop animation transition. So as you can see here on my camera, I actually have it set up in stop animation mode. Let me brighten it up. Let's bring down the shutter speed. Let's stop down a little bit. And then let's get focus. So I'm gonna just put this razor here and I'm gonna focus on the tip of the razor, manual focus. This is why having a monitor is important. So I'm gonna be using this button right here. So I'm just gonna start with a small little mark. Let's say we wanna just like fill up the whole screen. Let's start down here. Let's do a little mark right there. There's the first photo. Draw a little more and you can see we start to get that onion layer. So if I, start to spread out just a little bit, and I want to be mindful of my shadows, that I'm not putting my shadow anywhere when I take the photo. And it's just a simple process like this. You just keep going. We're just gonna get all scratchy with it. And the same process is how I've done all the other packs, like the newspaper, money effects, all that. So I'm just gonna add some depth over there. Let's start to draw a couple little X's. We'll get a little scraggly here. So I also want to fill in the green here because I want to do a transition, so I want it to be pretty full. And we don't want to go off the frame. So I'm trying to stay within the frame right here. I'm going a little wide, but I think we should be good. And then now we have this big paint blob. We could in here, and then basically it would just animate and it'd fill the entire screen. If I wanted to make this like a cool overlay or maybe something you could put a title on, we could get some whiteout like I did in the whiteout effects pack. I got some new whiteout here. Shake that up. I can do a little splatter, so here we go. There we go. There's one splatter. Let's come from this direction. Let's do another one. There we go. And then we can do like a big streak. I could come back in this direction. I did kind of go out of the line right there at the bottom. So I'm gonna have to mask around that. That's gonna make my job a little bit harder, but I got a little crazy with the whiteout. So I think we're good here, but what I would do now is I would go ahead and hit this button. Then I'm gonna click in stop animation, create video. And this is why I love the GH5. So now I'm gonna hit, you can see I have 4K 24, 12 frames a second. So if I shot 24 frames, that's gonna be a 2-second clip, which is pretty good for a transition. I'm gonna hit okay, then I'm gonna hit that, and then it's gonna create the video. So we're gonna let that do its thing. And then once it's done, we're gonna have an MOV file as well as all the photos we've taken. So if we did mess up, like let's say I took an extra photo, grab all the photos and I could edit it that way. But if I hit play on this, let's go and see what that looks like. I'm gonna show you how you can turn this into a valuable asset in Adobe Premiere that you could sell to other people. Okay, so when you import your SD card, so you could go through all the photos and you can see we have the full sequence right here going photo by photo, and they're really high resolution. I can zoom all the way in, really high quality. And then there's the video clip right there. So I'm gonna use the video clip, but I'll also show you how to assemble photos. It's really not hard. And then here's our X's. I'm gonna do this one last, so if you want to skip to that, if you want to see that one, go to that one. But this one I believe is more useful. So I actually have these imported, and let me go ahead and just import, make a new sequence. So if I play that, we're pretty much set, and it holds on the end for us. If we want it to hold a little bit longer, we could add a frame hold. Where's that at? Add frame hold, boom. And we can just stretch that out easily enough. For this one, if we did want to do these photos, we can just drag all these in. And same thing. So look, if I go frame by frame, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or it's changing every 2 frames. And then so I dragged in all the photos. I could just select them. I could go speed duration, and then we want to turn this on. And I'm going to change this to 0, and then I'm going to change this to 0, 2. And then now, if I zoom in, you have 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I just select all these, hit scale to frame size, then I would select them all, and then we could drag that last one out. And then I could just select all the pink ones, and then I could hit nest, 001. And then it's exactly the same thing. Don't have the GH5 and you just take photos. Works exactly the same. I'm going to use this though. Why not? It's already made. I'm going to delete that audio, and I'm going to nest these right here. So we just have one long clip. First thing I like to do is I like to do a little bit of light coloring just to kind of boost up the brightness a little bit, and even color correct. Since we have white on screen, I can just grab that little dropper and you can see it fixes the color balance. I like it really bright, contrasty, maybe bring down the highlights just a little bit. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. We're looking solid. In Premiere, we're going to want to grab Ultra Key. In After Effects, it's Key Light. If you're having trouble in Premiere, you're going to have to go to After Effects. I'm going to see if I'm going to have to go to After Effects or not. After Effects is a little bit better for masking when it comes to this bottom portion, but let's just see how it comes out. So I'm going to click green. And then what I like to do is there's a couple things I like to do. One, I like to turn on transparency grid so we can see what's transparent. And then I also like to turn this to alpha. So this kind of shows you like it's a little gritty over there. So then I just kind of play around with the pedestal. I play with that. And you can see if you have it low, you kind of get some of that nastiness up there. We don't want that. We turn that to there. Then I like to just kind of play around with these and see if I could get better results. Let's see. Yeah, we got the pedestal all the way up, transparency. I think it looks good there. And then there even is a cleanup. Choke is pretty useful. You can see choke kind of gets rid of these extra dots around the side, which is fine. We could turn up the midpoint. And then we can switch back over to composite. We could play that through. And that looks pretty solid. So another tip of what I like to do is I like to create a color matte. And I will just honestly, for this, I'd probably do something like blue. And hit OK. And then I'm going to drag that underneath. And this just kind of helps you see what it's going to look like over, you know, like a clip. So you can see it's a little scratchy in there. You can see right there. It's not looking the best. So we can play around. I mean, we could maybe turn down the choke if you like that look better. I'm not mad at these results though. So then from here, what I would do is I would grab the opacity mask and I would probably turn that back to alpha. And I would basically just draw a mask of everything I want to keep in. I'm going to keep some of these dots in, but not all of them. And we're just drawing a mask here, okay? And like I said, this one might be a little messed up. I went outside the frame. I'll add another point there later. Okay, cool. And now if I go there. So now we can move it however we want. It's not too bad, you know. If we did it as like a transition, like let's say it's full screen, scaling it up, play that through. So let's say we like how this looks. I'll do a transition later. So let's watch that. It's a solid asset. And then like, let's just let it hang out for, you know, I don't know. Let's say, what is that? About like 2 or 3 seconds. And you could really do anything with this. You could throw text on it. You could rotoscope it behind someone. There's a lot you can do. So I'm going to turn off this color matte. So we're transparent. And then I'm going to show you how to export this. And then once it's exported, it's pretty much going to be an alpha asset. You can drag it on any software, DaVinci, Premiere, Final Cut. It's just drag and drop over people's footage and you can really distribute it to anyone. So I'm going to hit Control M. And it's going to take us to export. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to name the asset. Let's name it Scribble 001. And then I'm going to come down to video. I'm going to click match source. So it's 4K. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to change that format to find QuickTime. And then what I want to look for is Apple ProRes 4444. Boom. Then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to hit more. Then we come down. We always want render maximum depth, and then we're going to come down here, and then you're going to see 8BC. You're going to see plus alpha. So what that's going to do is it's basically going to render the alpha file for us. This is going to have no background, so you could just drag and drop over your clips. I don't like putting audio on mine, unless if you put a sound effect with this, which some asset creators do. You can attach a sound effect to this, so when it drags on, it'll, you know, have like a scribbly sound. I don't want that though. I personally don't like that. I feel like it's a little too cut and paste for me. It makes everyone's videos the same. That's just me though. So this is good to export. So let's go ahead and export that out, and then we're going to bring it back into Premiere over some footage, and we're going to see if it worked. Okay, so here is my Scribble 01, and you can see it already looks transparent. If I just drag it straight over my footage, no audio, and then if we play this, you can see we have the effect, and this is on a 1080p timeline, so there it is right there. And this is ready to go. You can fully customize this. You can do whatever you want to it. Now it's its own asset, so I can, you know, play around with the brightness. I can come over to curves. I can make it more saturated. I can change the hue of the paint. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this now. So now you've just created your first asset. So you can make a bunch of these. You could package them together and you can sell them on a website. I might make another video breaking down the basics of that. Let me know if you guys want to see that down below. I'm going to walk you through how to turn this into a transition. Let's go back to here. I'm going to show you how to make this into a transition. So if I did turn this into a transition right now, let's say I scaled this up so it fills the full screen, right? And then let's say I duplicate that. And let me just reverse this, right? Because we're going to be reversing it. And let's play that through. So let's trim all the way to there. So here's the current transition. And that's okay. I just feel like it doesn't flow right. So I think this is just going to be a red scribble transition with no paint. So that's our last frame right there. So I am going to make a cut. I'm going to delete everything else. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to go speed duration. I'm going to go reverse, but I'm also going to come over to effects, and I'm going to type in flip. So I'm going to flip it, horizontally flip. And then now it should give us a smooth, and we have a solid left to right transition. And same thing, we would export that as an alpha and we're good to go. This is like the same process I've done for some of our other packs. Like you can check out, here's some of the money effects ones that I did. So here I have the photo of the X, and we're just basically going to line this up. So I'm going to start with this first little dot right here, and I'm going to zoom in all the way. I'm going to go 1, 2. That's 2 frames. And what I would do is I would basically, you know, I would just draw a little mask around this, right? Then I would duplicate that just so we can see it on the next one. I'll actually put it over. And then I would bring down the opacity on it just so I could see. And then I would make a cut here. And then we're going to move the frame underneath, and we're going to line that up. You see what we're doing here? So now I can delete that. We're good to go. And same thing. I'm going to draw a little mask around this. Bam. And then I'm going to duplicate that again over here. Make a cut. Boom. And then we're going to turn down the opacity. And then same thing, we're going to drag over to the next one. And basically, you're just going to keep repeating this process until you get to the very end. Okay, so that took a little bit, but let's play it through. We have this asset, and if we want it to loop a little bit more, we find where it ends. So maybe around there. And then I would just select those, hold Alt or Option, delete the space, and then we have, it's a little wiggly for a little bit longer. We could even do it one more time. Control C, Control V, boom, boom. Play that through. Nice. I'm going to select this. Then same thing, we're going to use Ultra key. Ultra. Go ahead and drag that on. Go ahead and select that. Change that bad boy to alpha. And then what we want to do here is we want to just kind of play with the settings. Get those lines nice and crisp. Play with the pedestal a little bit. Maybe do a little bit of choke, midpoint, and then let's switch back over to composite. Looking good. I think I could have had the lighting a little bit better. You can see my red's really not popping that much, but it's not that big of a deal. Now we're just gonna draw a mask over the transparent parts. Maybe I won't go that far in. Let's go and play that now. And that's not bad. So now that's pretty much how you would have an asset that you want. I'll see if I could get the color a little bit better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Maybe a little bit of contrast right there. It's a little bit more red. We can hit this loop playback button right there so we can kind of just watch it. And there you have an asset. You would export it the same way, and then you could really do whatever you want with it. So that's pretty much the basics. If you're having trouble, you could hop into After Effects and try Keylight. Maybe I'll do that in another video, but that's pretty much it for today. If you guys found this video helpful, drop a like down below and consider subscribing. Let me know down below if you want to see more videos like this on basically how to sell your own digital assets. I have some other ideas for some content, but let me know what you guys want to see down below. I'm Tyler Casey. I hope you guys found this helpful. It was a lot of fun sharing these tips with you. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.